morning, intuitives. A little earlier than I normally try to get on here, but I have to go to the courthouse momentarily because to go see the register of wills and sign the official documents to become the executor of my mother's estate per her will. Taking a little longer, but she did die right before Thanksgiving, and now it's right after Christmas. Things move slow between Thanksgiving and New Year's. Slow moving, cold time of year. Also, Narc's favorite time of year because they can guilt trip you. Guilt trip those that are low contact into having contact. And I did videos about that you should all check out. Thank you all of you that have watched my last video on narcissist enablers. It's an important video to watch if you are dealing with a narcissist or a borderline or think you are, because most, if not all of them, have enablers. And, a lot in recent years have been done to better understand these cluster B personality disorders, but their enablers not so much, and they can be just as dangerous because they exhibit a lot of the same tactics, and ultimately all they care about is the narcissist's approval. So they'll do anything to get that and destroy whoever they have to get it. There's nothing they won't do for their narcissist or their master, as I like to say, because it's accurate as hell. Welcome everybody who's new. I got a decent amount of subscribers yesterday, which is always awesome. Those of you that watch these videos and haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because I love getting the comments that my videos help, and subscribing and liking and commenting all helps this nobody in the algorithm and doesn't cost you anything. Now, if you really want to say thank you, you can throw me a tip through Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. Links are in the description and in the About section of the channel. Or you can hit the super thanks button and essentially tip both me and YouTube, because they take 30%. And thank you to the person who told me that, because I didn't know. Yes, the big corporations. We are a corporatocracy, or an oligarchy if you prefer. But enough sidebarring. It's been 2 minutes of that. What I want to talk about in this video is, as I've seen a lot of posts about, I've talked about what an INFJ needs in a friend, what they're looking for as far as like how to reach out, how to approach an INFJ, how to get them to open up, what an INFJ is looking for in a relationship. This video connects that because it's essentially how do you sustain it. So this video is going to be about like what INFJs are interested in both friends and lovers. And this is, assuming you've gotten the INFJ's attention. They're starting to open up to you. How do you get them to fully open up? And how do you keep that person around? What can you exhibit for the INFJs? Like, I ain't letting this one get away, which, because that's so rare for us. INFJs being the most extroverted of the introverts and being people who like to help other people, we do tend to have a lot of acquaintances, especially like work friends, things of that nature. But as far as like people that we open up to that know our dark secrets, yeah, not so much. We know everybody else's though. People forget that, and are surprised when we bring stuff up after they stab us in the back, because we are vengeful. We are, Anyway, so I have 8 points, because everybody likes numbered points apparently, of things INFJs are interested in both friends and lovers. And number 1 is someone who can honor the truth without letting their personal feelings and opinions tarnish it. In other words, INFJs are very big on the truth. I've done videos on this, and we're very big on integrity. So INFJs, me especially, exhibit A for this, will do the right thing at their own detriment, and we respect and look for that in other people. So if you're willing to tell the truth and do the right thing, regardless of whether or not you agree with it, or especially, personally especially, regardless of whether or not it's popular, and regardless of, who's involved. Like, not like, well, it'd be different if it was somebody normal, but this is like, a township prince and all that bullshit that where I grew up is all about, that still makes no sense to me and never will. Stuff like that. Same rules for everybody, no double standards. Truth good, same rules apply to everybody. Very important if you want an INFJ to trust you. Number 2, someone who is open-minded, believes in equality, and recognizes their privileges in life. Now, in this one, open-minded meaning like INFJs are all about authenticity and people being who they really are, because INFJs deep down want to be accepted for who we really are, although most of us are brought up to hate who we really are, and we struggle to express who we really are because we're so different and because we're told to fit in, and because we're introverted. That's very hard for us, but we learn, kind of, sort of, eventually. Trial and error, hard, long road, still working on it, but made strides. And privileges in life can be many things. Like, the obvious would be like, oh yeah, like, I have privilege because I'm white and a guy. It's true, I do, and I recognize that. But I also recognize that there is a privilege above white male privilege. Now, it's just a little more specific. The ultimate privilege is white male baby boomer privilege. Don't forget that. But there's other privileges too, like recognizing if you're rich. A big one that people around me don't recognize is like nepotism. If you're set in a cushy job because you're working for a relative, at least admit that. Don't try to bullshit people. Like, it's not like the INFJ is judging you for having that. The INFJ would be judging you for you trying to be like, well, I worked my way up and earned this. It's like your boss is your uncle and you were a C student. You bullshit and like tell the truth. Or if you're just one of those people who's lucky and you're in the right place at the right time, like, good for you, but admit it was blind luck, because INFJs don't have luck. Things of that nature, like admit where you've caught a break or where you've been given a second chance or a third or fifth, because INFJs are big on recognizing that, because unlike any other type, we rarely get a fair shot at anything that we deem worthwhile. I am a living testament for that, and perhaps even the best example of that, arguably. Yeah, that's debatable, but I'm certainly a textbook example of an INFJ who never gets a fair shot. So it's important to notice, where one was given a leg up or a head start. Like, just beyond, it's not like, oh, you shouldn't have that and take it away. It's like, no, just acknowledge that it exists. If you're rich and daddy paid for college, you gotta, and you're like, well, I own a house. It's like, yeah, because you didn't have 30 grand in debt to pay off, and he gave you 100 grand to buy that house. That's a prime example of somebody I know. Well, I have a house in my own business. Yeah, and your dad gave you 150 grand in 2011. Oh, that's not a head start. 150 grand in 2011. I don't know, if I had 150 grand in today's money in 2011 dollars, most of my problems financially they'd all be solved, and I'd be living where I want to live. Still have to find a job with purpose and a blue rose of a woman. That's extremely difficult. But alas, wouldn't be worried about money, and I'd have one of my three big three. I'd be living where I want to live. So 1 out of 3 is better than none out of 3. Used to have 2 out of 3, which is pretty cool. Oh, Arlington, how I miss thee. And my badge, of course. 4, you have to have a sense of humor and can laugh at yourself as well as make us laugh. It's one of the many reasons why I love ENFJs. You have to understand our dark, sarcastic, satirical sense of humor. And we're also big on self-deprecating humor. INFJs, a lot of times, especially if they're comfortable, we're very goofy and clown-like, and we try to lighten the mood, especially in times when somebody's taking something so serious isn't serious, like like a landscaping emergency. Like, the grass is cut the wrong way. What's the worst that'll happen? Somebody will yell, or or an emergency at a restaurant. Like, what's the worst that can happen if you screw up, somebody's dinner? You have to comp it. I don't know. I've never understood, like, these quote emergencies at jobs that aren't real emergencies. Maybe it's an INFJ thing, or in my case, maybe it's because I have a fire EMS background and have dealt with actual emergencies since I was 17, which is now half my life. Oh God, I'm getting old. But that might be a me thing. But I think INFJs in general, we're serious and we're very calm and collected, like when shit hits the fan and most people are panicking. But when something isn't serious and everybody's like acting like the sky is falling, it's a joke to us, because it's like, how's this going to impact anything? Ooh, somebody's going to be upset. Yes, and humor is very important for us, especially understanding ours. Again, ENFJ is great at it. Number number 5, someone who's always looking to improve themselves and the world around them. Again, why I love INFJs so much. INFJs are always hard on ourselves. We always think we can do better. We always feel like we're not doing enough, and people have to get that. INFJs are not those who compromise. All or nothing, baby. All or nothing to the grave. And we're always trying to do more. And a lot of times we stretch ourselves too thin. And as I've said in many videos and did on specifically on this, we try to make the world a better place. The cause may be different, but most INFJs have some cause that they want to do, like, you know, call out narcissists and borderlines, good old boys clubs. Just saying, that might be some, INFJ out there vainly, valiantly, though, trying to do that. But so people who are like-minded in that respect are very important. INFJs typically don't get along or open up to people who are like materialistic, who want, attention for attention's sake and derive all value from, look at my stuff, look how great I am because I have this stuff. Yeah. So 6, someone who is courageous and confident who they are without being egotistical. Yeah, because INFJs, we are who we are, and we don't care what most people think of us. So we look for that in other people, like people who are very comfortable in being themselves, because INFJs have trouble expressing that. We know who we are, and we're not going to change or pretend to be someone we're not, but at the same time we struggle to express who we are. We know, but we just can't explain it to other people. So people who can do that, who are eccentric and different and, charismatic, and people like them, like, once again, ENFJs, those are people that INFJs are drawn to in one way or another. It's funny because, a little sidebar, INFJ men that are straight typically fall into one of two camps. There's the straight INFJ guy who most of his female friends are ENFPs, and he likes to date ENFJs. That's me. And then there's the reverse. There's the INFJ male who has a lot of female ENFJ friends and is attracted to ENFP women. Yeah, I mean, of course, there's it's not like one only dates that personality and one only dates that one. It's primarily like the majority of women that we're drawn to and want to date seem to fall in that category, one or the other. Yeah, certainly me. Certainly doesn't always or rarely goes my way. Too many people are married at this point, or ENFJs are too big of pushovers and let other people run their lives. It never ends well, but they still let people do it. Learn to say no. All right, 7, someone who has a mind of their own and does not mimic the laws and perspective of the world's many brainwashing agents. Okay, so that's not ENFJs, but basically this is a big one for me. This boils down to, not just blindly following the status quo. Be your own person, stand up for what you believe in, do the right thing no matter what. Do not be corrupted by what's popular and, what's good and status quo-y. Yeah, I live in the worst place. I don't know about in the world, but certainly in the country for that. But very important to us. Yeah, be your own person, fight for what's right. Stand up for what you believe in. Don't give a shit what people think. Don't just blindly fall in line and let these self-proclaimed kings and queens run your life because they said so and they just know things. Apparently, they don't. Trust me, they don't. And they get really angry when you call them on your bullshit because they can't defend what they're doing. They're just that entitled, and they feel that everybody should bow before them. It angers me. It really angers me. Righteous yet in a righteous way, but it expresses in a demonic way. And finally, number 8, someone who has a life of their own and isn't too self-centered or needy. Yeah, someone who's living the life they want to live, who's working towards the life they want to live, and not just blindly living a life that somebody else picked for them, and who's pretty independent and isn't completely dependent on other people, and doesn't live their life for the approval of other people with goals, dreams, aspirations of their own, and perhaps an end game of what ultimately they want. They're not just going with the flow with whatever person claims them as their property at the time, that kind of thing. So those are 8 things that, you know, INFJs are interested in, and friends and lovers. And certainly if you exhibit most of these, or better yet all, an INFJ is quite likely to open up to you as well as respect you, and, you know, not want you to get away, because people who exhibit all these traits are quite rare, I would know. I hope this video enlightened you on this topic. If it did and it helped, or another video did, please send a tip through the links below. Remember, INFJs, trust your intuition. Sometimes people seem too good to be true, and if you see red flags, it's best not to ignore them. And don't sell out your integrity to try to please someone who's lying to you, ever. Thank you for watching this to the end, because now there's ads in these videos and some people are annoyed by that, but I don't put any unskippable ones, so give me that much, right? And I will be back later today, probably.